right, so we had a little bit of a mixed bag today on the market. Overall, the market went up 377 points, and that is 1.6%. And again, we doubled that at 3.4%. But it was a pretty mixed bag. If you look at the stocks that we hold, it's literally, I mean, more up than down. Um, but for the most part, they're small numbers 5, 6, 2. I mean, that one's good 8%, 8%. Uh, uh, Two Harbors went up 8, but then we're looking at 1, 3, 4, and then we have a mixed bag. Even the ones that went down are like 4 and 6. As we look at the ones on our watch list, the same thing. There's more up than down, but it's kind of a mixed bag. There wasn't necessarily industries that all went up today, so it's not like all the real estate went up or all the oil stocks went up. It was definitely a mixed bag. Um, so I'm looking at some news today that impacted some things. I think overall we just have this. Again, we're at the bottom of the U-shaped curve, so we kind of went down the shark's teeth, right? And we were at the bottom of the U-shaped curve, and we're not necessarily um, moving a whole lot. So, and that's just mine. But anyway, um, so that being said, one of the things that came out overnight or in the morning, I think, was that Wisconsin Supreme Court overruled the governor and basically said what kind of everybody knew is that she didn't have the authority to extend the lockdown. So she had the authority to do it up to 60 days, but then after that, and I read the opinion, and it was very well thought out. It was right on the money. It wasn't partisan. Um, and basically said, look, you are prescribing criminal penalties to people who are violating your order. But in the Wisconsin law, it says you can only prescribe criminal penalties to rules, not orders. And so there's specific things that you have to do to make a rule. You have to put it through the legislature. It has to go through rulemaking and has to have a public comment period. And she never did that. So they basically, in the long and short, told her that she overstepped her bounds and it's a separation of powers thing. So, um, so anyway, that being said, I think it's a really good sign going forward because you're going to see people more empowered across the other states to sue um, the governor's orders, take it to the Supreme Court. And as most of these are state laws, so they're not going to go to the Supreme Court. And you're going to see those overturned. So you're going to see a whole bunch of people that are going to be empowered to sue their state to do that. And at the same time, the governors are probably not going to be all um, what do you want to call it? Knee-jerk reaction of just let's just extend the order. I think that's true in Michigan, where that governor just seems to every time there's a protest, she extends the order, which is kind of crazy. Um, and I think there's going to be a little bit of pressure on them to open up sooner. And it's funny in Wisconsin, like bars are open, and they basically said that businesses can open all they want. It's up to the business. The business owner can decide how much they want to open, or even if they do want to open or not. And as long as, one of the things they wrote, it wasn't the Supreme Court, but one of the summaries they wrote was basically that, what if somebody gets sick at your business? Well, as long as you can show um, what do you want to call it? As long as you can show a good faith attempt to adhere to reasonable health guidelines, that it's never going to go anywhere. So, but anyway, that's a good sign, and I think that kind of led the market up a little bit today. But it wasn't a big day. We're at the bottom of the U-shaped recovery, so we're not going to really predict any big days for the time being. And then you're going to see it ramp up, and I think that's when you're going to see states go up, and you're going to see people flying more. You're going to see things like movie theaters open. Those are going to be the signs you're looking for. Restaurants open for in-person dining, which is great. But then at the same time, if you have a certain number of square feet in the restaurant and you're only letting 50% of the people in, you're only getting, I'm just making up a number, but half your revenue, which means that fewer people are going to have jobs. So you're going to see the unemployment lag while these are in place. So, but that being said, the main focus right now is not about, let's just go ahead and have this, 2,000 point gain for the day or $5,000 gain for the day. That is not our goal right now. Our goal right now is to firmly entrench our position so that when the market does go up, we're in an awesome position. So we took a look at the upside today, and we're looking at stocks that we're going through, and then we'll take a look at our holdings and take a look at the Dow futures. So I updated these at the end of the day, and I'll show you a couple color codes. So for those who are new, anything in blue means they I don't really have a whole lot invested in these, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Um, well, actually, no, we'll just jump over to right now. So it really annoyed me because I went over to these ones, and you have service, particularly BHR and 2. Let me see if there are any other ones. BHR and 2, and Crestwood Equity, which is right here. And I went over to holdings, and those are like my best performers. So like BHR, Crestwood Equities, and 2 I have almost the least amount invested of any of them, and yet they're performing the best. I'm like, geez, why couldn't I just have thrown more money at those? I mean, but looking at it, BHR has a 0 rating for buy rating, so those people obviously are wrong. Crestwood Equities are REIT, and that has a 60% rating, and that's just been awesome the last couple weeks. And then Two Harbors, again, 78% rating, so we're not too surprised it went up, but it's like, I really need to put heavy investment in those. So I think what we're hoping for is that one of these two, we'll get into these, sell, and then we can reinvest. We're just going to reinvest those into um, basically probably two of these. So with that being said, we plugged in the numbers, looked at the upside. We have everything above here being a 5. Yuko we're going to hold for a while. Again, it moved up today, which is good. $20 is the point that we're really looking before we're going to put more investment in that. IVR, I put it in orange. So anyway, this column right here is basically yellow. I want to look at it. Green, I sort of like it. Dark green, I really like it. And I'm not sure if I have any dark greens left. Nope. Orange is like halfway between yellow and red. So I'm like, kind of stay away from it, but I'll check on it every so often. Yeah, and we'll go there. So Azul, which is down a little bit, that's a Brazilian airline. And we'll see what we want to do with that. You know, it's not, I have a pretty decent stake in it, but right now if I wanted to buy it, the cost basis is 875. It's down to 6. So if I wanted to do that, it's a good look. So I'll put that in yellow just to take a look at it. It's not a committal. It's not saying I love it, but it's one just to make sure I focus on those when I do my analyses. Velocity Financial, they basically do mortgage funding. That's pretty much all they do. And I went through their numbers. I mean, I did a deep dive in their numbers. I looked at their earning call, and whoever's running that company knows what they're doing. So they're going to be in good shape, but they don't have a big buy recommendation here, and they're right at our cost basis. So, and I have a decent amount in them already, so I don't necessarily have to focus on that. MFA is a REIT, and it's interesting. They're just non-plus. It's not that they're bad. They're not they're great, but they're just non-plus. So I'm not really looking to add to that or really to get back into that immediately, but I'll take a look at it every so often. GNC, I don't know why I even have this on here. There's a lot of trouble. Maybe when you start to see retail stores open, we'll start to see maybe if this goes over, I don't know, it got close to 50 cents. Maybe if it goes up to like 60 or 70 cents, then we'll take a look at it. But it's not one that I really want to focus on. And retail stocks are the ones that are most at risk of bankruptcy. But then again, they're most at risk of getting bought out too. So it doesn't necessarily mean just because they're suffering. I guarantee you there's some shark out there offering to buy this for a song, which sounds like I'm in 1930, but whatever. Buy it for really cheap. Spirit Airlines, again, an airline. I'm not super wanting to get into airlines. Plus, it's Spirit Airlines. Like, I hate that airline, so I kind of don't want to be involved in that. But it moved up. It was down here, and now it's moved up here. So it means it got hit by the recent airline struggle. So Dave & Buster's talked about yesterday. That's where everybody's just walking around touching everything. So I think that one's going to lag a little bit longer than normal. Redwood Trust, kind of like that one. That one's decent. I definitely want to look at it. It has a 67% buy rating, but it's $1 over our cost basis. So there has to be some really good rationale if we're going to increase our cost basis. Norwegian Cruise Line, we have our limit sell. Service is down a little bit, but there's no indication whatsoever. It's $1 over our cost basis. There's no buy rating on it, and it's an oil stock. So we'll hold off on that. Helix is good. 50% buy. It's right up the middle. United, we have a limit sell on it. ICAGI is going to be really good. That's the European airline conglomerate. The number's really good. 87% buy rating. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. And let's take a look here. Yeah, so beyond that, we're down to 3.8, and I'm not really going to look on those too much. The next really big, great buy rating we have here is Every, but we're pretty well capitalized on that. It's 20 cents under our cost basis, so yeah, maybe we'll take a look at that. The ones that are in red below that are American, which we have a cost basis on, or a limit sell on rather, and we got into Red Rock before, but I want to see this go up to 350 before I'm going to consider this, because it's linked in with the casinos with Every. So with that being said, we're still above ground. So at the bottom of the market with all these in here, we're still leading the way. And what's funny is if we zeroed out Yuko, then we got to redo these formulas. Let's make sure these formulas are right. Okay, and you know what we're going to do? We'll do this. I guess we can keep that there. It's the same number. But if we did a 0 here, yeah, then we would be up. Basically, take out Yuko, we're up 3,300, and then when you look at the limit cells that we have, the cells we have, we would be up almost 7,000, which is 10%. So overall, we're good. We're in the bottom of the market. We're still doing really well. These two are Every and Red Rock are going to take off together at some point. Yuko's urging its way up. VEL's down only because we just bought it today. We bought it as a limit buy, and it went a little bit above it and then went a little bit below it. But, I mean, it's such a minor amount, 2.71 versus 2.75. These are the ones we have limit cells on, and these 4 right here. Other than that, we're really happy where we're at. Like I said, we're up almost $4,000 overall at the bottom of the market where everything's flatlined, and these 3 filled. So, and these are our limit cells. So with that being said, let's take a look at tomorrow for the indices, and I'm using this one again, investing.com, just because it shows all the indices. It looks everything's in the red, but very small amounts, 0.1 on average. That's kind of your average you see here, except for the Euro stocks. And S&P 500, the VIX, which is a volatility index, is up a little bit, which actually, it just means you're going to have greater gains or greater losses. But even then, that's pretty much dead flat at this point. So this early on, it's mid-afternoon in California, so we're not expecting to see this really high. Otherwise, we'd see it in after-hours trading. And in this case, we look after hours. And it's weird, it says 0. Because usually it'll have something. So I'm not sure what is going on with that. But with that being said, I'll check it later tonight, see kind of where things are at. And if we start to see a big movement, let's say it's down 300, then I'm going to go ahead and take a look at these. And if there's any of them that I would sell to free up some cash to avoid taking a hit, maybe I'll just take the Menlo that we just bought and just take it lower, or Service that we have, and we will, because it's only up 20%. And I don't know, I kind of don't want to get rid of that. That could be just a big stock that blows up one day. So we'll see. But anyway, we have a plan. If the stock goes down, I'm going to take a look and see if there's anything we want to do with that. We might throw some extra money in and buy some more stock. And if the stock goes up, we'll always take the gain. We're not going to surrender a gain at that point. But again, our focus is not this number here, right? Our focus is not that number here. Our focus is driving down this number here. All right, so with that being said, I'll see you tomorrow.